Hey everybody, I am Amy and hopefully you can hear me and see me, and this is our first Google Hangout on air. I'm going to go ahead and enable the use of the Q&A, so if you have a question you can submit it there. I'm a little out of breath. This is my playroom. Totally meant to be broadcasting from my office downstairs while JP played with our girls upstairs in here, but for some reason my laptop wasn't working, and so I said, well, let me go run upstairs and try. And so I'm sorry that we're getting started late. Can somebody, if you have my number, could you text me and let me know if this is working? I know there's a little bit of a delay. It's going to be like a 30-second delay, so hopefully you can text me. I'm going to go ahead and start talking. I love technology, but you know, sometimes it's hard when it doesn't work the way that we expect it to. So yeah, if you could let me know. I know there's a few of you on here. If you could let me know that it's working, I'd really appreciate it. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about me and why I'm doing these workshops, why I love them, why I think they work, and the potential I see in them. So I have been, well, I first went to a workshop, a freezer meal workshop. It was a Velata one back in November of this last year. So it was like 8 months ago. There's a text. Hopefully if somebody's saying it works. Yay! Thanks, Jess. Okay. So I attended a workshop back in November, and it was amazing. I have a we have a 2.5-year-old, and we have a now 1-year-old. And I was finding that I was so stressed out about dinner that by the time, so I'm running my Scentsy business. I'm also a Scentsy consultant. So I'm running my Scentsy business from my home with these 2 little people. At the time, we weren't doing Mother's Day out. We are this fall. Praise the Lord. But at the time, you know, we didn't have anything. So I'm home every day with these kids. My mother-in-law was watching the oldest one only once a week. And I didn't have a lot of time. And I thought, you know what, something's got to give. And usually it was dinner, what we ate. We would do sandwiches for, you know, for lunch, and then dinner was kind of like, hey, honey, can you pick up some BJ's or Chick-fil-A or Panera or whatever. And often, I mean, it wasn't always like fast food. Like, we don't eat McDonald's and Arby's and Sonic and stuff like that all the time. And so it was usually like we were getting takeout. And so it's like $30, $35 a meal. And that's just for JP and myself. And our 2-year-old, the one, you know, the baby wasn't eating at the time. We were spending so much money, and I was feeling pretty guilty because I wasn't cooking. So fast forward November, I went to this workshop, and it was incredible. It was so simple. The person who was doing it was one of my upline, and like, she really didn't seem to do that much besides, you know, get everything organized, put together. And here I am. I'm spending 2 hours. I even had my baby with me. I was wearing her on my back for part of it, because at the time she was just like 5 months old or something like that. But I came home with these freezer bags, these meals, and our family loved them. So I decided, oh gosh, I've got to do this. People are gonna love this. So I started in January. I've now been doing them for, this month will be the 6th month that I host workshops in my home. And I'd say this all the time to people, but we probably would not we would be eating, but we'd be eating out, or we'd be having pancakes and eggs or grilled cheese like all the time, because I really just don't have a lot of time to prepare food. And I love to cook is the thing. Like, I enjoy that. I always have, but I just felt like I didn't have a lot of time to do it. And I really believe that the majority of working women and men out there would love to plan ahead for their meals and know that they cooked them, you know, they made them themselves. They're saving time, they're saving money by doing these freezer meal workshops, and people are so interested. So I'm gonna get to, here's what I'm gonna talk about. I'm gonna talk about how to get started, the different options for how to run them, the cost, how to set up, what you need. I'm gonna talk about how to advertise, and then we'll talk about some extra details. I would love to start doing trainings like at least every other month for those who are interested in Freezer Meal Workshop trainings. Oh, also, there is an amazing Facebook group. It's called Velata Freezer Meal Parties Brainstorming Group. It's on Facebook, and it's incredible. Now, if you are not a Velata consultant yet, you can't join the group, and here's why. It totally makes sense. At first, I was a little frustrated because we've got some team members that were wanting to get on there to see the recipes, see what it's about before they commit to adding the Velata brand. But the deal is, if you think about it, it's a private group for a reason. When you're a Velata consultant and you're doing these workshops, you have access to all the recipes that people are sharing. Now, I know I spent time coming up with recipes. I've uploaded about 4 months worth. Some of the recipes are recipes that I did get off of that group, and some of them are ones that are my personal recipes that I have added Velata to. And I'm still out of breath from running up here and being aggravated. But a lot of the recipes are ones that I found on Pinterest, and I have adjusted them and made them work with Velata products. And so if those were something that were publicly accessible, it wouldn't mean so much to people who come to the workshops. Like, that's part of the value in coming to workshop, is that you get my recipes. And so that's why they make it for Velata consultants only. When you want to join, they will ask you, and if you have questions, you guys can be asking me. So if you want me to repeat the name of that group again, I can do that. If you want me to, whatever, ask a question, and I should hopefully see it pop up and I can show it to everybody. I'm used to us doing trainings like Spreecast where you can see a chat. I'm kind of bummed this doesn't have a chat, but hoping you guys will ask some questions. So, oh shoot, what was I going to say? Anyway, that group is amazing, and hopefully you can join it. So let's see. So here, that's how I got started. That's about me. A lot of people, here's some like things that people ask me about. They ask, well, where do you have it? Do you have it like at a person's house? Do you do it at your own home? Well, I live in an apartment and my house is really small or whatever. So I do mine at my house. I have a really great kitchen where there's plenty of space. But even then, my max workshop, I just decided was 10 people. I just chose a number. And the reason is I went and bought enough like buckets and measuring cups. And I'll talk about this in a second, but I bought enough stuff for 10 people. I just chose that number. You might need to do a smaller workshop if your house is pretty small, but here's the thing. You can use all kinds of spaces for these workshops. So we use my kitchen island. I have a big island, and sometimes we use the counter space around, but I also have a kitchen table, and I found bed risers. Well, I bought mine on Amazon for like 16 bucks, but I've been told they're at Walmart for like $7 or $8. You can buy 6-inch bed risers, and 6 inches will bring up a regular table height table to counter height. And you can put them on your bed, and so it raises the whole table up so it's counter height. People aren't hunched over. So you can do that. They also sell card tables now that are adjustable, like those fold-out tables. They're adjustable, and you can choose if you want them like table height or counter height. You can also take card tables and put the bed risers on them. Whatever you have to do. I've heard of people doing workshops. They've got people set up in their kitchen and their dining room, and they've got another table set up in their living room. Like, whatever you gotta do, you can do these anywhere. I know that there are some people who rent out community centers. If it fits in your budget, if you think about the cost and how that breaks down, and you can afford to go to a community center to do like a big group, I think that that's really cool. Some churches might let you do workshops there. So you have lots of options. Here's the way that I do my workshops. I charge $40, and that gives people who get to come, they get to take home recipe sheets. They get labels for their freezer bags. They get a shopping list that tells them what to bring. I email that to them about a week before the event. It includes their cleanup. I supply certain things like this month we have a recipe that uses Worcestershire sauce, and it's like a tablespoon. And so I'm supplying that. If there's additional salt and pepper, I do that. Usually I do olive oil. If there's soy sauce or something like that, you just need like a tablespoon or two. I supply that. And then so they're also getting their Velata products, and this is what makes it a Velata Freezer Meal Workshop, is that they get Velata products. I forgot to bring my spices, my rubs. So in my workshops, generally, next month is going to be different, so I can't say always, but in general, everybody gets 3 different rubs, and they will get to take those home with them. And people ask so many times on that Facebook group, that's the Velata Freezer Meal Parties brainstorming group, people have asked so many times on there, should I let them take their spices home, or should we just do community spices? And I was questioning my choice to let them take their spices home, and here's why. When you let them take their spices home, if you're just charging $40, which I'm doing, in doing so, this is a lot of numbers. Are you guys ready? The breakdown, and if you're not a Velata consultant, let me tell you. So 3 rubs, they are actually $10 a piece, but when you buy them in a 3-pack, they're $9 a piece. So $27 gets 3 rubs, plus I usually do a cheese. That is 33 PRV total. Well, Velata charges shipping on everything plus tax. It ends up to be about $38. Remember? So their product alone is costing $38, and then that leaves like $2 left over. Well, I kind of just say that's a wash because I am supplying like the paper, the ink, the labels. I also am providing like a water bottle and then snacks. I do use like Hostess credit when I enter all of these Velata products. I use the Hostess credit to get the Velata products that would be used for my snacks that I serve. But if it's like a dip and there's chips or whatever, like or fruit or something, there's that cost. So I just kind of say that extra $2, well, it's being used for things. So really the money I make off of each workshop, since I'm making 25% off of my 33 PRV, I'm making $8.25 a person. So if you were to use community spices where they don't get to take their spices home, you basically have to figure out how many rub containers you need for everybody that's coming to your workshop. So you actually will spend less money on your products, and you would get to keep the cash that's additional, that's left over for yourself. The reason that I chose not to do that is, I sat down and I crunched numbers finally. I was wishy-washy, didn't know what to do, because I thought in the fall, as I'm like gearing up towards kind of like really making these really, really good and strong, I thought about making it where they don't get to take their spices home. But when it came down to it, I decided if I charged less money, like if I was thinking, well, I can't have people, just being honest, just being real with you. You guys, some of you have never done these before, and so you're kind of at an advantage to choosing how much you want to charge people and how you want to set it up, whether they're doing community or take home for their rubs. And I feel like I'm getting really in detail, like really in depth here, but it's important, and I want you to know why I made my decision, and that I don't think it's crazy if you do community spices. I get it. So the way it broke down for me is I've already been doing these workshops. I've been charging people $40 and they're getting to take their spices home. At this point, I felt like I couldn't start saying to them, well, you don't get to take your spices home, but I'm charging you the same amount. And so I thought, well, if I charge them $35 and we just did community, really my profit would only be about $11 each, which is not a huge difference. And in the grand scheme of things, I decided I wanted more PRV points. I wanted people to be taking the spices home, using their cheese or chocolate, taking their rubs home, and I wanted more PRV. And so that's really what drove me to make my decision. And PRV, if you are not a consultant yet, PRV is basically like your retail sales. It's what you get your commission based off of. And when it comes to earning promotions within our company, and when it comes to earning incentive trips, that's a huge part of those things. So I thought I wanted more PRV. That being said, some of you are wondering the same thing that I was wondering, is that what about repeat attendees? Like, what on earth am I going to do? And so I love what I decided to do about that. And you guys, I did lots of brainstorming. My husband and I did lots of talking, lots of trying to figure these things out. And here's what I've come up with. For my repeat attendees, whenever I set up a new workshop date, I let everyone know what different rubs they'll be using this month. And I'll say, here's the menu, and here's the 3 rubs we're using. If you've previously attended a workshop before, you have a $9 credit per rub that you are going to be bringing back to use. So Some of them may only have a couple of the ones that we're using because maybe they've been to different workshops and we've used different ones. And so they have a $9 credit because when they bought them as a part of that 3-pack, they were kind of discounted. So instead of $10 each, they get $9 each. And what I tell them is, I send this email out and I say, you know, here's how much you get for these rubs if you're bringing them back. Let me know which ones you're bringing, and let me know what you want in place of it. They get a credit, a $9 credit for each rub that they bring. So I feel like I'm being really confusing. So what ends up happening is if they have one rub that they're bringing back that they don't need me to buy for them, then they have $9. So they might get a $9 bag of chocolate, or they might get themselves a warmer, a fondue warmer for a discounted rate. And what I've told them is, see, this is the brilliant part in it. That was like accidental brilliance. I tell them, if you have an overage, I'll just add that to your workshop total. The reason I do a credit and the reason we do the overage and all that is because I still want to charge $40 for my workshop. I don't want to give them a discounted rate. I need them to be ordering that product because remember, I'm getting my commission. That's the money I'm making on the workshop for them coming. I'm not getting an additional like fee. That is my money for like the service that I'm providing and cleaning up and sending out the shopping list and making the recipes and all that. My commission is basically what I get. So I need them to order 33 PRV, basically. I need to order that much for each person. I hope that hasn't been confusing. I should have practiced the way that I explained that. I hope you get it. If you have a question, I'm looking here, there's no question. So let me know if you have a question, guys. All right, so that's basically how I broke it down. So their $40 cost provides them with 3 rubs and a cheese usually. This month we're doing 3 rubs and a chocolate. Next month I'm just doing 3 rubs, and the reason I'm not doing a cheese is because, well, for one, there's not a recipe that really needed one of our cheeses in it, but also because I decided I'm going to be supplying a few extra things like a cup of soy sauce per person, and I can't remember what else, but it was enough to where I thought, well, I'm going to be spending more money on those kind of things. So this is where it's up to you. You can do these however you want to. I know some people who charge $35 and do, you know, community. I know some people who charge $40 and do community spices. I know people who will charge $45 to do take home, whereas I'm doing $40 for take home. It's really up to you. So sit down and like do a numbers breakdown, try to figure it out what you want to do. I like the way that I'm doing it now because one, I'm getting the PRV points so that when it comes time for the incentive to start in August, I'm setting myself up for lots of PRV. And number 2, I have the opportunity to upsell in when I give them their credit. So like, the very first month that I did a credit where that people could get a credit, I sold a chef knife. They had like, let's see, they brought 2 rubs. So they had $18 and they bought a $65 chef's knife. Guys, that's a big upsell. I sold a knife block. I've sold a paring knife. I mean, so I'm getting more than just the $40 workshop fee. I am upselling. So that's that, $825. All right. So here's kind of what you need. I'll talk about recipes in a little bit, but I want to explain to you like how I set up what I use. So basically, I love the Dollar Tree. You can use cuter bowls. I have to be honest, I probably am going to be investing in something a little bit nicer than these eventually. But for my first 6 months, maybe even for my first year, like this is brilliant and so cheap. So this is just one, because usually they just use like of all the measuring cups, they just use this, and I don't want to wash all of them. So I only give them the measuring cups and measuring spoons that they're actually using. Little tip for you. So this is like a Betty Crocker brand, but it's from the Dollar Tree. So a whole set of measuring cups is $1. Whole set of measuring spoons is $1. I gave them a spoon. I think these were like 2 in a package for $1. And then I bought these bowls. By the way, if you're going to look for these exact bowls, they also had like a blue lid on them, but you could use anything. So when they arrive to the workshop, they have their bowl, they have, you know, their measuring stuff. And the spoon is like for stirring stuff or for like scooping the cheese out of their cheese tub or whatever. So they have this in front of them. I give them a catalog. They also will have labels in front of them. And I recommend, if you're going to be printing labels for people, to buy the labels that print, like if you're doing 8 recipes, like this seems like a no-brainer, but I was buying these larger labels that fit 6 per page. What you need to do is get the labels that print 8 per page, 8 per sheet, because then you can go ahead and put all the different, the names of all 8 of your recipes and maybe the day of cooking instructions on for each of those on there. And then you just give them one sheet that has all their labels, and they peel their labels off and put them on the back. That's my tip to you. That's what I'm changing up for the fall. I also give them the freezer meal, their recipes. This is a really cool template. Let me show you. Oh, it's backwards. Well, this is a really cool template that I found on that group. And it says like the meal, the name of it, the ingredients. Sorry, it's backwards. It's got day of workshop prep. So when they're at my house, they're actually working off of this alone. Then these are their cooking instructions. I copied and pasted this cooking instruction onto the label that they're going to put on their bag. So it's the same thing. So they can look off of this, or they can just look off of the bag. And then there's optional stuff like side dishes, mainly side dishes. So this template is on that Freezer Meal Parties brainstorming group. It's also the format that I've uploaded my recipes in for that group. So you could get that and then change them up however you want. Let's see what else. So in the fall, my plan, as I'm like revamping these, trying to do, as I'm like trying to do things differently, making sure that everything I'm doing is making sense. This is 4 per sheet, and that's just because the very first time that I did these, it's in a certain font that I think is like readable. And what I really want to do, if you're starting out and you're just wondering, what I really want to do is be able to take this whole thing. So this is 2. I really would like to make them like postcard size and print 4 per sheet, and then make them front and back. And then my goal is to, when back to school stuff is out, to either buy really super cheap binders, or most likely like some sort of folder that has like brads in it. And that way I can put, hopefully, like if they have 4 recipes on this side, 4 recipes on this side, I will be able to put this in a page protector and give them a page protector in with their kit when they come. And if it's their first time coming to a workshop, they would get the binder or the folder, the very first workshop. And what I think is cool about this is it's setting the tone, or it's setting the expectation that, oh, I'm going to be coming to these more often, and I'm going to get more recipe sheets to put inside my Velata Freezer Meal Workshop binder. You know, like I think that psychologically, like that just makes sense. And I'm not trying to like trick anybody or anything, but like it just kind of sets people up to expect that they're going to be doing that. So I also provide a cutting mat for everybody. When I first was getting started, I splurged. Well, actually I had some credit left over from something. And so I was able to buy enough cutting mats for everybody. You totally don't have to have enough cutting mats for everybody. You totally don't need to have enough knives for everybody. You don't even have to have enough measuring cups or measuring spoons for everybody. You could tell your workshop attendees to bring those. I know a lot of people buy like cheap cutting mats that aren't Velata, and then later on they will invest in the Velata ones as they get half price items. Because remember, whenever you go and order your Velata products, you are going to be putting those in as a party. So you're going to be getting half price and free stuff. But I am slowly still using my half price items to buy ceramic chef's knives, because people love those stinking knives. And every time that somebody uses one, they love it. They just love it. I think a lot of people you'll see as they come to your workshops, they have really bad knives, number 1. And number 2, a lot of people don't know what they're doing when it comes to cooking in the kitchen. So for you who are watching this, if you think, I want to do these, but I'm not an expert, there are not a lot of experts. A lot of people have no idea how to cut an onion, how to cut a bell pepper, how to chop parsley. Like there's a lot of teaching involved. And so you don't have to be an expert. People just want to come and hang out and do it together. You can figure it out together. So a couple other things that I have personally, some of my recipes call for like zest. And so I have like a planer zester thing, can openers, peelers. I've got a couple, like 2 of our ceramic peelers. I always want to have paper towels. And then like I said, like I'm trying to get enough knives so I can let everybody have a knife to start out with. I have like 5 right now. So if I have a small workshop with 5 people, then I'll go ahead and just set their knives out for them. Otherwise, I tell them what to bring on their shopping list email, and I'll talk about that in a second. So how I actually run the workshop. I have a Facebook group that I have set up, and I didn't have a Facebook group my very first workshop. But after the first workshop, I decided, how am I going to keep up with these people? Like, they are very excited to come again, but I don't want to keep bombarding my regular Facebook page with stuff like this. And so I set up a Facebook group. It's called Amy's Freezer Meal Club. No, it's just called the Freezer Meal Club. And it's an open group. It's a public group, so anybody can join. And that is where I will post pictures of my upcoming meals that I'm like testing out. I am trying my best. I forget very often, but I'm trying to post other Velata recipes that they can be using their spices that they have with. But mainly is the place where I post upcoming workshop dates. And so I create a general, like here's what's really cool. Within the Facebook group, I can create an event, and I create an event for every workshop that I have during months. So if I just have, like this month, I'm just doing 1 workshop. I chose to just do 1. And so I create that event. I put the details on how to RSVP, blah, blah, blah. I put the menu. And then the cool thing when you create a Facebook event through a group is it just automatically invites everybody that's in the group. I know, it's amazing. So if you didn't know that, now you know. So everybody will get invited. If somebody has expressed interest, but they haven't come before to your workshop, if their friends have added them thinking that they may want to come sometime, they get invited, and they'll get to see that. And so like for however many events that you make, they get an invitation. So I make sure I tell everybody on that event, you know, it's open to 10 people, first come, first serve. Let me know if you want to come. And usually I watch the RSVP count on that event. But sometimes there are these people who will say yes, they're coming, and they don't end up coming. Sometimes there are people like my friend's grandmother RSVP'd the other day to the one that I'm having next week. And I texted my friend and I said, Abby, do you think she meant to come? I don't think she meant it, but if she did, I don't want to count her out. And so she's like, oh no, she does that all the time. So I don't actually officially go off of that list. What I do is once they've RSVP'd yes, or if they've contacted me, I have a notebook where I write down everyone's first and last name, and then I get their email address, because I'll need to email them with their shopping list eventually. Now, when it comes to payment, at first I was using PayPal. And PayPal charges like 2% per transaction unless people will gift you the money. So I have found that Square Cash is pretty cool. I'm still using the personal account. I might need to switch over to business one day. But Square Cash is really, really cool in that you can tell people to go to your like website that they have basically. So it's like cash.me/my cash tag is what they call it. It's like /AmyNC. So I can tell people to go there, enter the amount that they owe me, and then put their credit card information, or it's only with debit cards, by the way. They can put their debit card information in. Or if I have their phone number, or if I have them as a contact in my phone, I can actually just go to my my Square Cash app, and I can choose them, and I can put the amount in, and it can say request, and it sends them a text message. And all they have to do is put their credit, or it's not credit, it's only if they have a debit card. So what I've been doing is I get everyone's email addresses, because I have to have them anyway for the shopping list. So I say, looking forward to the workshop, blah, 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 blah. Once I've received your payment, that will secure your spot. So please go in and do that, ASAP. Here is how you can pay. If you would like to pay with a credit, or if you would like to pay with a debit card, then go to this website and they can do the cash account. And right now I'm saying if you don't, then you can pay with a credit card using PayPal. The reason that I don't have people just pay me when they show up is because I want them to commit to coming. If they can't come for some reason, they still are going to get their rubs and their cheese and their recipe cards and their labels from me. Either I'm going to find a time to meet up with them or I'm going to mail it to them. But as far as I'm concerned, like that secures their spot. If they don't show up, I can't just give them a refund. Or, I mean, actually it wouldn't be a refund. What I'm saying is the reason that I charge up front is because if they didn't show up, I'm just out the money and I could have filled that spot with somebody else who actually was going to come and pay. So I make sure I get money up front, and if they can't come, I mail them their products. I have heard of people who do the community spices, and they'll tell people if they have to cancel, then they get a credit towards, like, they get like a one-time miss credit so they can come next time. And after that, like, they won't be allowed to do that. I mean, they can keep coming, but they wouldn't be allowed to like transfer it to next month or anything. Let's see. So after I get their payment, and about 1 week before their workshop, I send them the shopping list. And my shopping list, let me see. Oh, shoot. I'm not on my phone, so I don't have it with me. I mean, I'm not on my computer, so let me see if I can find it. So my shopping list includes information like everything to bring, everything that they, and I can send this to you guys if you're interested in like reading exactly. Actually, this is on that Facebook group, but it just says a little about the workshop. Your $40 cost covers your spices and cheese, which will be waiting for you the day of the workshop. It also covers a few things like olive oil, cumin, etc. Below is the grocery list. It says you want to arrive with your ingredients in a small ice chest. A plastic tub or laundry basket work great too if you're going straight home afterwards. Your workstation will be awaiting you with recipes, your instructions, spices, and all the tools you need to get the job done. Blah, 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 blah. They serve 4 to 6 people. And then I tell them to wear comfy clothes. I tell them that if they don't like something that's on the shopping list, like if they don't like mushrooms, don't get mushrooms. Get something else, or just leave them out. Or if they don't eat red meat, then they can get chicken, or they can do whatever. And then I do tell them to bring their favorite knife. Hopefully, eventually, I'll have enough knives where I don't have to do that. I told them to bring a kitchen towel for drying their hands off. You could have them bring an apron. And then I tell them to bring freezer bags, which are also on the shopping list. And then the shopping list, I have it broken up into like categories. So there's like the meats and the canned and dry goods and produce. And I try to like italicize the things that they are. I'm going into a lot of depth. And so this is too much for you. You guys this will be recorded and you can totally just like, if you're zoned out right now, because I'm just like, it's over your head, you can go back and watch this later. But I also italicize the items that are, that they don't need right now. So like sometimes like there's a meal called chicken provolone, and you don't need provolone cheese until like right before you're going to serve it. You're not going to be putting that in your freezer bag. And so I just tell them to like leave that at home. I also include on here optional items that they might want for sides. And so like with produce, it says optional salad, and I tell them like what meal it's going to go with. So they can be thinking about like what optional items or what sides they may want to get. It just gives people the ability to choose what they want to do. It makes it really their own. So that's kind of the email that I send out. That's their shopping list. And so then they will show up the day of the workshop. They will lug all of their groceries, and it's really hilarious. People are like, I got so much stuff, but they'll lug all their groceries in. The kitchen will look crazy messy. There's like, Walmart bags and big shopping bags and ice chests, and everything's just all out everywhere. And we get started. They've got their stuff in front of them, and I just start working through it with them. And I say, okay, we're going to be going off the day of workshop prep column. And when you have questions, let me know, because if I were to go through everything and give them all the details for every little recipe right away, like that's too much information. But I also don't want to have to keep everybody on the same recipe at the same time. It's kind of a do it at your own pace, because some people need to get home and get out of there. Some people are faster choppers. So really it is do it at your own pace. But the cool thing is, we start off in the same order. And so usually people will hear my answers to some of the questions, even if they aren't on that menu or that recipe yet, and they'll be able to remember that for next time. Now, this is important. And this is another option that you have. On my day of workshop prep, I have the meat separately. Like you'll see it here. This one is different, but I have the meat in a separate spot on my recipe sheets, because what we do at my workshops is we go through all of the recipes, all 8 recipes, and then at the very, very end, we get our meat out and we do the meat for all of those 8 recipes. And the reason for that is I don't want to contaminate like cutting mats and knives and hands and have people going back and forth. And some people don't even know that they should be careful about like chicken juice and meat and stuff like that. And they're just touching everything. And it really keeps things a lot more sanitary. And so I have also heard of people who will have their workshop attendees prep their meat ahead of time. So they'll say, you need this many chicken breasts, you need them trimmed up and added to, you know, however many bags. And then you need 3 chicken breasts cubed in 1 bag, and then you need this steak put in like this and whatever. But for me, I would prefer, if I was going to a workshop, just knowing how busy my life is, I would just prefer to do everything all at once. So I don't really want to prep meats and get my kitchen dirty and then go. Like, part of the benefit is not having to get my kitchen dirty or spend the time at home doing that, being distracted by kids. And so we do it all at once at my workshops. I will say next month, now that I said that, next month I have like 3 recipes that include like rolling egg rolls or enchiladas or making hamburger patties that are going to take a little bit more time rather than just throwing things in bags. And so I'm actually going to test out the doing your meat ahead of time thing. I think that it will keep things rolling. These should take about 2 hours depending on how complicated your meals are. Some people like to talk a lot, and so I think that as far as like next month goes, since there's a little bit more prep work rather than just like dumping into a freezer bag. I'm going to test it out so I can let you know how that goes. Let's see. Guys, I think that's almost it. Do you have questions? I feel like I kind of flew through this. I've got a couple of other things I do want to say as far as like finding recipes go. Let me see. But let me know if you have a question. Okay, so I'm going to test out this feature, the Q&A. I'm hitting select, so you guys should be able to see this question, right? Do you give the catalogs the day of, or do you mail them? I give them the day of, because it cuts out some of the cost for mailing and things like that. So they get it to go home. Plus, like, they're sitting there and you know, they get home and they're explaining how the workshop went to their husband, or they're telling their friend the next day, and they're like, so now what is this? What was this? And then, you know, the attendee can say, well, I didn't even know, because I don't totally advertise them so much as a Velata workshop. I don't make a huge deal about it because I don't want people to think that I'm going to be selling other products to them. I'm not trying to trick them into coming and like selling the knives and chocolate and stuff like that. And so, you know, they can say, oh, well, like, I didn't even realize they have a crepe maker and they have like syrups and fondue stuff. And it's actually pretty cool, you know? So I don't try to like upsell them. If people talk about how great the knives are, then I'll chime in. Yeah, the knives are awesome. Of course, we're eating Velata whenever we're having the snacks, and they're using the knives, hopefully, eventually. They're seeing the cutting mat, and I'll explain. I might explain how it's antibacterial if you stick it in the microwave, you know, for a minute, how that kills off the germs or whatever. But I don't make a huge push. I don't say, hey, I gave you a catalog. If you need anything, let me know. Like, I don't do that. One month we made crepes, and it wasn't until like towards the end that I even like, that they actually understood that this was a Velata product that I was using, making the crepes in front of them. So I think that that's a really cool way to present it, because people want to come back. If they think that you're going to be like trying to sell stuff to them, like, it's not a party. This is a workshop, and they already bought they already bought their products, basically. So, yeah, I give it to them the day of. Also, you guys, I've been a Scentsy consultant for 6.5 years, and I love Scentsy so much. I don't think I can give it up. But one of the cool things about this is you don't have to make deliveries. I didn't mind deliveries so much before kids, but now that I've got these littles, it's not so much a big deal if somebody's home and I can just run it up to their front porch and drop off a Scentsy order. But when someone lives at an apartment and I've got to get the kids like out of the car, go up the stairs to the apartment, or if I'm meeting somebody at their place of work, I've got to find a time when I don't have kids, or I've got to lug them around with me. There's no deliveries with this. There's no packaging up product. There's no like figuring out party games or anything like that. The prep is completely different. So the prep that I've told you about, basically like setting up your kitchen, getting everybody's stations ready, printing these off. There's the prep of coming up with your recipes. There's the prep of getting people to come, accepting payment and things like that. But it's really different. So I've just noticed that. So another question was that the cost of groceries can change, but what do you think is an average cost? So in my first workshops, I would always try, and I still do, I try to ring up my groceries for that workshop when I'm testing them. I do them separately, but I've shopped at a lot of different places. I get a lot of different kinds of brands. There have been times when I don't buy very much organic, and then sometimes I buy a lot. And the price range I usually tell people is between 100 and like 140. If you're doing like all organic, it could be 150. Sometimes, maybe. I don't think I've run into anybody that's paid that much though. But I actually write that in their shopping list on that email. It says the price is going to vary depending on where you shop, what kind of deals you get, and whether you buy conventional or organic. And I just say that up front. A lot of my workshops when I've bought had a mixture of organic and not. Sometimes I shop at Target, sometimes I shop at Crest, and I generally spend like $130. So that's it. Another cool thing that I tell people that they can do is they can split these up. So that might seem like a lot of money, $130 plus the $40 for the workshop for like just you, if you're like a single person, or if it's just like you and a spouse and you don't have a huge family of kids or whatever. But you can break these up. And so I will tell them that if they want to bring extra freezer meal bags, they can split them in half. And most of these you can totally, I would say if they serve 4 to 6, and you can definitely split them in half. There's just some of them that like we will eat right away for leftovers, so we go ahead and make the whole thing. But like this chicken pot pie that I'm making this next month, like I wrote on here, like probably everybody needs to put this into 2 bags because it's just so much food. And because that's the case, like really like it's a bigger meal, like more people can eat it. So if you want to split it up, you can. So any other questions, guys? I was afraid that I was going to be rushing through, and so that's why I was like talking really fast, worried when we started late. Let me see if there's any other. So a couple other things that I've done, and I've just kind of come up with them are, I love having the Facebook group. Like I said, it's where I post pictures of things that we're going to be having in the future. So like today I posted a picture. Actually, I posted this picture on my personal page. I lied to you. I didn't lie, but okay. So today I posted a picture on my regular profile, but I usually will also try to do this in the group. But I said spinach and mushroom smothered chicken with lemon garlic, green beans, another winner, hashtag Amy's Freezer Meal Club, hashtag July menu. I posted that. But I like to post those in the group just to get people like thinking about, oh, I want to come next month. I got to make that. That looks so good. And so I want to make it. I usually post these around dinner time just because that's when we are eating, but I think that people are hungry too, and it catches their attention when they see pictures of food on their Facebook or their Instagram. So I love the Facebook group for being able to kind of give teasers for the next month. Also, like I said, to post the events. But another reason that I love the Facebook group is I have started this thing called Freezer Meal Friday, and I need to do a better job of talking about it at my workshops and also emailing my previous attendees to let them know. But I was thinking about repeat attendees and how I really want to have repeat attendees. And I do have a lot, but as I've been talking to some people, I have found that, like I have a really good friend, and she is still using some of her recipes from like February. And I'm like, Amanda, you need to be using more of these. Well, she was waiting because she was going to have a baby. She just had a baby. And so she was kind of like trying to stock up her freezer with them. But I was thinking, like, I don't want people to be waiting. Like my family, we use them like 4 nights a week. We're using these freezer meals. Or if we have leftovers, it's a little bit less, but we're constantly using them. And when you are using them, that's when you need to come to another workshop. And so I started this thing called Freezer Meal Friday. Now I can't say this. I can't say exactly what Freezer Meal Friday is within my Facebook group because it's a public, it's like a public thing, like social media. And within our standards within Velata, it's basically against the rules to advertise specials in a public forum. And so what I do instead is I just say, hey, it's Freezer Meal Friday. I want to see what meals you've been making this week, or happy Friday, everybody. Post your meals for Freezer Meal Friday. We want to see what you've been cooking this week. What did your family enjoy? Which of your meals have you liked, or whatever. And so when they're posting their pictures, one, it's reminding everybody that, oh, I should be using my meals. But number two, they are trying to like use a meal during the week, use a meal or two during the week so they can take a picture, so they can post, and it's getting them to cycle through their meals so they need to come again. That's basically my reason for that. And what I do is I choose one of those winners. I just draw a name. Everybody gets, if they post 3 times, well, they only get like their name in the drawing once, but I'll send the person, I'll do a drawing and I'll send one of them a message that says you get $5 off your next workshop. And so far that's worked really well for me. Like I said, I just kind of realized, I just started like 2 or 3 months ago, but it would be important to like mention that, or even have that on like a postcard or something that you give to your customers, like when they're at the workshop. But advertise that there. You can do it through an email and tell them, hey, you could do it like on Monday and say, hey, it's Monday. Hope you have a great week. Just a reminder to be enjoying your freezer, or I hope you enjoy your freezer meals this week. When you use one, be sure to take a picture and save it for Friday. I'm going to be posting, and I'd love for you to share it, and I'll draw a winner to get $5 off the next workshop, something like that. Let's see. Okay. If you have questions, again, ask questions, but I am going to give you my basic rundown, how to get started when you're like really just getting started. Number one, if you're not a Velata consultant, you need to sign up for Velata. You guys, I signed up for Scentsy when it was 4 years old. It was 2008. Maybe it was, yeah, Scentsy started in 2004, and it was 4 years old. When I started selling Scentsy, I had never heard of it. I just heard of it like 2 months prior. I started using it, loved it, and I joined. I was so passionate about the product and about the company and about my business that I told everyone that I knew. And when I told everyone that I knew, people wanted to buy. They saw my passion, they caught on to the excitement, and they were doing it. So I was recruiting, and my recruits were recruiting. We were all doing parties. We were all enjoying it, loving it. It was kind of a whirlwind at the time. Since then, we have, this is like a normal thing for direct sales for any company, really. I say, like, there's definitely like the whirlwind phase, and then it'll kind of plateau. It might go down. It's going to go back up. Right now, since he's kind of like back in an upward trend with things that are going on, it's totally normal, everything. Well, I feel like Velata is just now, like, Velata's been a company since 2012. It's a Scentsy brand that they decided to like create a second brand that people can sell. So at first, a lot of Scentsy consultants joined Velata, just joined the bandwagon. They joined it, but didn't do anything with it. And then Velata, or Scentsy, like Scentsy and Velata, decided that you had to sell a certain amount of product in whatever brands you were doing each month. You couldn't just like have a combined PRV. If you want to do Scentsy, you have to sell $150 in Scentsy every month. If you were doing Velata, you have to have $150, not every month, I'm sorry, in 1 month every 3 months. And the same thing is true for Velata. So you have to sell $150 in 1 month every 3 months, and it'll keep starting over. So when that happened, a lot of people dropped off of Velata. It's not that it's not great. The company's not great. That's not why people like dropped off. It's because they weren't actually doing it. And when that happened, it really created an amazing opportunity for people who are serious about Velata. I have never done a Velata party. I'm not opposed to it. I think that eventually I will. I think that my husband and I are talking about doing like cooking classes, changing it up a little bit instead of just calling it a party. But we're thinking about doing different things. There are so many options for this product and this brand, and I'm so excited about it. And it's because I feel like I'm starting to feel like I'm shaking. I really, truly, 100% feel that Velata right now, today, where it is in the place that Scentsy was when I first got started. And knowing that makes me so excited. It makes me want to put everything into this because I know the great potential in it. Right now, I have a pretty large Scentsy team, and it's all because I was driven, I worked hard, I got a lot of amazing people on my team selling our amazing brand, and we were all passionate about it, and we still are. But I think if you are just now starting out with Velata, or if you're thinking about it, there is so much potential in this brand that you don't even realize. When you start doing these and you start talking to people about these workshops, you're gonna see they think it's a brilliant idea. I'm not selling people on anything. I'm providing a service and they're loving it. I've always said this with Scentsy, I'm not a salesperson, but even more so with this, like I'm not selling them anything. They're coming to a workshop and they're using the products and I'm serving them by putting their shopping list together and cleaning up the mess and sweeping up my floor afterwards. And so, like, I'm just so excited. If this is at all your thing, or if you are at all curious about it or interested in it, if you think that, so if you're a Scentsy consultant watching and you think that you might have a friend that would want to do Velata, you don't have to sign up to do Velata. As a Scentsy consultant, you can still sign up a person underneath you to do Velata. If that's not your thing, but you've got a friend who wants to, then have them join. If you are brand new, you're not a Scentsy or Velata consultant, sign up for Velata. You're gonna really enjoy it. If you're a current Velata consultant who's just kind of been doing nothing with it, you guys, these workshops are amazing. And I'm telling you that if you will put a little bit of effort into it, if you'll get serious about it, well, first, just get your feet wet. But if you will start doing these, you're going to see that people love them. You are going to have people attending your workshops. You are going to have repeat attendees. And from those people, you are going to, I think that you're going to get some recruits. And if not from those people, there will be other people that are seeing what you're doing when you're posting on Facebook. You may have friends from outside of your actual like local area that see what you're doing and say, hey, I can't come to one. And I think I've got a potential recruit, a friend from college who, I don't want to say your name and like point you out, but she may be watching this, and she saw that I was posting pictures and workshops and said, that sounds like so much fun. I think people in my area would love it. And so I sent her the recipes and shopping lists and things, and the spices. And so she tried out she's tried out like her own little workshop at home. She did it. And so she's thinking about joining, but it's because I was posting things and there's nothing in her area. So there's so much opportunity for her to get started with these. And so I think that if you will really, really like work it, there is so much potential. I think that we're going to be seeing lots of recruiting happening this fall. I think that we're going to be seeing a lot of like because of this and people getting the Velata catalog in their hands, I think that we're going to be seeing more people interested in doing parties and things like that. I have let people borrow my crepe maker. I did a little borrow bag. I gave them the crepe maker with instructions, and I don't think that you have to do parties in order to sell this. I think it's great. So I know it's 9 o'clock, but let me say this. If you're thinking about joining, here's what you need to do. Number one, find a menu. If you are not yet a Velata consultant and let me see if there is a way for me to type some text. I don't know if I know how to do it. But if you're a Velata consultant, and if you're not a Velata consultant and you want these recipes, then I need you to let me know. You can, I will send you a month of recipes. My email is Scentplicity, SCENTPLICITY@gmail.com. But if you already are a Velata consultant, please join that Facebook group. That will save me some time. Join that Facebook group, and it's called Velata Freezer Meal Parties Brainstorming Group. Join it. Look at the recipes that are on there. Pick a menu. You can do a pre-made menu, or you can pick and choose from your own. Choose a menu and go shopping. Keep your shopping list that you create for yourself, because you're going to be able to give that to your future workshop attendees whenever you actually have one. But go ahead, set aside 2 hours of your time where you are going to do this workshop alone, or you could do it with some friends just to kind of test it out, see what they think if you want. Make your recipes. Post a picture of your recipes. Post a picture of all. I wish I could show you guys. Another thing that I do often is when I am working on prepping a menu, I will post a picture of like my workspace saying I'm about to do some more freezer meals, I'm testing out a menu, and blah, blah, blah. But it's just like to get people's interest, to kind of, it's like a teaser, okay? So post pictures of yourself prepping your meals. Post a picture of the bags that you've got all lined up that you're about to put in your freezer, or of them in your freezer. And then be posting pictures and sharing with your friends and talking about, have some friends over with the meals that you're making. Like when you actually make those meals, post a picture of your crock pot as it's cooking the day of. Post a picture of your meal or your family sitting around the table and say, it only took me 10 minutes to put this meal on the table. I just got home from work and we're already eating dinner. Like that's what people want to see, and that's what's going to get people curious and interested in what you're doing. So pick your menu, shop, test the recipes, and then post pictures. And you may want to change the recipes up. I'm not going to be offended at all if you want to change the recipes, if you think that they need more spices, or you want to, whatever. That way you can stand behind your recipes once you've tested them. Post your teasers and then set a date. After you've been posting pictures once or twice, go ahead and set a date and see who's going to come. If you don't set a date, it may never happen. And I know, like, if this is something that you really want to do, the first workshop is a little intimidating because you don't know what you're doing. You want to be professional. You want people to enjoy it. You want people to come back. It's a little nerve-wracking, especially like if you're doing your own recipes. You want people to like your food, but set a date. And once the date is set, you've got some time because you're going to be collecting money. You're going to be ordering product. You've got some time to then go shopping and get the things that you need, get your recipes, in whatever format that you need. You've got a little bit of time, but just get started. I really encourage you to think about this and how it would fit into your life. If this is something that you can fit into your business, or if you're not a consultant, that you can fit into your life. I think that there's so much, like I said, so much potential in this brand and in this idea of freezer meal workshops. People love it. I have been seeing people do freezer meal like prep on Pinterest for a long time. And let me tell you something about those. I have a friend that I started doing freezer meal workshops in January, and I had a friend who lived kind of far away, so she couldn't come, and she's like, oh, I want to come sometime. That's so cool. Well, then she and her husband found like on Pinterest, they found like a blog that had like 20 different freezer meals, or may have been less, where they were, prepping them one afternoon together. And she was posting pictures saying how fun it was. And I was like, I think she got that idea from me, but good for her. Good for her. She's doing it. And, she's going to love having her meals already made. Well, somebody later on asked her, how'd everything turn out? And she was like, ugh, it's such a waste of time and money. She said, I think that some of the recipes were probably fine, but she said a lot of them were not that good. And so our products are awesome. Our rubs taste really, really good. My husband was a cook for a while in 2 or 3 different restaurants. So for him to say that he thinks certain foods that I've made are good, is a big deal. He used to be very opposed to blends. Like if I went to the store and I got a blend of spices, he was very opposed to that because he wanted to be able to mix things up and make them on his own. But our Velata rubs are really good, and our the recipes, you can change them up to make them however you want, and so you can stand behind them. But I've gone a little bit over. Do you guys have any questions for me? I hope you can see that I'm passionate about this. I kind of feel like I did when I first started with Scentsy, that this is so new and there's so much opportunity in it. And I hope that you will see that. And I hope that once you get started, I think that you'll see how great it can be. So don't be afraid to take the first step. Don't be afraid to just pick a menu, go shopping, and just do it. Just do it. If you don't do it now, you're just gonna be wishing that you did. So I wish you good luck. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy these workshops. Bye.